Aloha. I'm speaking with my guest, James Kimo-Hugho, who recently came out with a wonderful book called Hokulea-1 And most recently, we saw the Eddie Aikau surfing competition up at Waimea Bay. And a lot of people who know nothing about Eddie Aikau or the Aikau family had heard the term, Eddie would go, Eddie would go. And they thought at that time that they heard it, probably, that it simply meant that Eddie would take the big waves, because that's what they've come to associate Eddie Aikau with. Can you elaborate a little bit on who he was and that incident that occurred where he was actually lost at sea?
Well, this is a tough one because, the hurt is still with everybody.
Yes.
And it was unnecessary, uncalled for. While we were in the rescue squad and we'd be getting a call to go to the North Shore, I mentioned that it took us a while. We have a rescue boat behind us. But the emergency would be taken care of by Eddie and his family. Likewise, if we had to go to the west side, Buffalo would take care of it. And if Rescue 1 had to go to Makapu, Clifford would have it, But here we come down to, we have to continue down to get reports. And what's distracting is that, we have a helicopter with lights and the fire truck with lights and all of this, but you have Eddie and his family who completed the rescue. They took the information. The guy is happy because his life was saved by the Aikau family. And I felt, wow, yeah, okay. We're coming down with all this equipment, and he's just one person that takes his,
Before they even had jet skis and all the equipment we have today.
And, we would see the waves as we're flying down. And for the perspective from the air, like how you saw it on this recent showing of Eddie, it's big. If you can see the back of the wave and all of this white curve, that's a lot of power. But at that time, we'd go down and, we'd know, we wouldn't take it for granted that, oh, don't worry, Eddie would get it, yeah. But that was his kuleana, and he did it really well. So I mentioned in a book that the first 3 people that I wanted to have picked before Hokulea was built would have been Clifford Amau, lifeguard. And we knew Buffalo was coming. The other one was the Vietnam veteran, Kalakukia. And the third one would have been the whole Aikau family, the whole family. And so I took the navigator up there to meet the family, and he was just impressed. What he was seeing was what he wasn't seeing in lower Honolulu.
Yes.
And we go into detail about the 76 voyage. When you talk about detail, we do it. When you talk about transparency, there's no opaqueness in this one. And it was hard writing it. It was hard. I wasn't involved in the project, but I kept watch over it. And let me see, I don't have that picture here, but we get word that attempt is going to be made to sail to Tahiti, and they're not going to have an escort boat, okay, and they're going to go. And I couldn't imagine anybody who really understood the basics of navigation, so I was wondering, well, what is this, happened? And we happened to be flying over one day, and we saw Hokulea in trouble off of Honolulu Harbor, and we waited and watched her. I was back in the department by then. And so here's a training sail. The sail is taking place inside Honolulu Harbor. And for us on the first effort of Hokulea, we were sailing big water, between the islands. And my feeling was, my goodness, you guys better get out there, get wet. And if you can, fall off the boat. But we were seeing her in conditions that were ideal for water skiing. Anyway, the project, they started getting ready. They had ceremonies, what have you. The mayor, the governor, and Royal Hawaiian Band, all of these moments of glee. Yeah? And we looked at Hokulea, and she was so heavily laden. Her waterline, she draws 18 inches. Her waterline was swayed down, and she had too much equipment on board. And the feeling that we got from the first family of the canoe, that she was crying. But days before that, coming in from the east was probably the worst storm ever to come to Hawaii. So the authority having jurisdiction, which is the United States Coast Guard, politely asked, could you folks please delay the voyage until this weather front comes? But I guess hubris takes place, yeah? And management tells the Coast Guard, no, we're going. Okay, no escort boat, yeah? So this is what happens. But then the captain at that time, who had been with Hokulea in our, in 76 with us, he had all of the documents, he had all of the papers, well respected throughout the maritime industry. He said that his manao was such that we should hold off. They should hold off until this weather front moves. And he was told, quite frankly, that he will be replaced. So here, Hokulea is heavily laden, and we go into detail about this. They go right into the mouth of the worst storm that ever came to Hawaii. My feeling was, and I write in a book, boy, I hope the captain, if I was him, it was getting dark, let's fall off and let's head towards Japan. Well, in that direction, but not for Japan. And people on shore, all of the, rah, 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 they're not going to know. Let's fall off, get away from this guy that's coming in, and then just when it's ready, just go. But no, they were forced to go. They were forced to go. And details of this is such that I waited for just one item in admission, and I finally got it November 2013. It was an admission that was in a book, okay? And when I read it, I couldn't believe it. And I says, why wasn't this admission made while they're looking for Eddie? And so as soon as I saw that, I says, the book ends right here. And that's where I ended.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of hurt.
Sure.
It didn't have to.
Yeah.
And he went because he's going to take care.
Right. He was just that kind of guy.
He could have been here for the other weekend's event, and he probably would have won it. Yeah.
Even at his age.
Oh, yeah. Age is nothing. It's his mana.
There's so many amazing people who have been involved in this project, and it's ongoing. It's transformed into something completely different now. I think you've been very privileged in being a part of it from the very, very beginning. Would you have any closing words for those young people who are out there now, who are seeking some kind of purpose in life as a Hawaiian, as a youth who's going to be living in this 21st century?
Well, for everybody, it's tough right now, for all local people, everybody who calls Hawaii home, yeah? Because we come from the point of view of local family kuleana. And we're having to deal with corporate kuleana, which is big business, the city, the state, and federal government. So that's what we're having to deal with. So I encourage everybody to go in a kai, go in the ocean. This is therapeutic. That's what we did. And if you can get a chance to sail or bring back all aspects of your culture, your art, going back into the forest, taking care, what everybody is trying to do now, everything to, make our earth a little better than how she is now, because, boy, I tell you, it's not happening. But, keep on pushing, because your children, their children, will benefit from this, like how we're benefiting from those who came before us and the new youth now that's going to be the leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In spite of all the dismal predictions, I feel such passion and hope for the future that everything that we have done in the past is going to come to a great fruition in the near future in spite of the conditions of the world. And so it's through efforts of people like you. And so I thank you again, Kimo, for being here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
That we don't want to really reveal now, but we're going to continue in chapter 3, and then maybe you can share with us where they can find this book at your website. You want to share that now?
Oh, yeah, we have time. It happened. It did come to fruition, in the life of Hokulea. But if you go on my website or our website, it's called familyofthecanoe.com. You can get excerpts from the book. We're also at Namea, Hawaii, down in the Ward Center. We're at basically Books Up in Hilo. We're also at the Bishop Museum, and we're going to be looking looking at